What's going on, boys and girls? It is Shane and we are here at FedEx. It is the practice event. It is 4/14. Lovely overcast day. It was a little bit damp in the morning, but then most of it is actually dry, so it should be fun.
Love you, Shane.
Yeah! Woo! So here we go. So we're gonna go ahead and pull on up here. So this is your starting area, and so the first thing that we want to do is check out where on earth we're going. So we got a left-hander, and then we're gonna lead up and go up the hill, and then it looks like we got a right to a slalom leading on up. So you want to kind of just plot out where you may want to go here. And so I don't want to start over on the left side at the start, because that's just going to make this left-hander harder. So I'm just going to start over here on the right, and let's get going. So as we get started here, my eyes are trying to see as far as I can see that my gap through here is very easy. So not keeping my eyes too much on that. So I'm just going to fit my way in. As I'm switching gears, I'm actually going to try and throttle through and then switch gears once the car is straight. What a lot of people are doing is that they're trying to turn back and forth here and then switching gears, and it becomes a little cumbersome. So as we get through here, one of the things that a lot of people end up doing is driving directly to that cone right there, and you don't want to do that. You actually want to be not as far out as this cone, but kind of be a little bit over to the left so you can set up the angle for that right hand, because what's next is actually a gate coming up. Okay, so and then after the gate, if we stop right here for a second, we got the gate, then we got a left-hander, then we're going back up to the right. So we know all that is going to be patience. We can't really storm through that. So we just want to worry about our position. So as we're coming up here, we're going to start wrapping around here. Since it's going uphill, we want to pretend like we're trying to hit this cone, knowing that while we're on throttle, we're going to understeer a little bit. As we're coming on up, this is going to kind of bring us over to the right hand side, because we just try to hit that cone. If you're over too far to the left, like right here, that means next time you need to set up a little bit better for that right-hander. So we want to be right here so that way we can get a nice good angle and good run up here with a good average. If we're too close to that left cone, you can see that we have to slow down too much for this left-hander. If I can be mid to right over here, then I can actually carry some good speed and by flicking the car through this little area on the setup. Right here, I'm going to try and nip on this cone and shoot the gap. So what's coming up next is that we got we're going to be going right up the hill, and then we got a pincher cone. What's next? We just got a little lane change going up the hill. So as we go up here, we can see that the positioning where this is versus the next cone is in our favor, so we can actually track out a little bit. So we're going to just pitch the car in here again, try to hit this cone but be on throttle, and it's going to pitch us around. And we're going to try and hit this guy, and you can see that it's daylight. If you try to throttle out too much from back there and you're all the way out here because you try to get on the gas too hard, then you're going to be fighting it, because then you're going to be getting off the throttle trying to squeeze through the slalom. So as we come through here, pivot, and you have a nice daylight. So that's them BMW boys right there. They got the V8s and the inline 6. So they're going to be hauling butt up this hill. And then what we're looking for is what's coming up next on this left-hander. So this left-hander, it looks like, oh man, I have to slow down the car quite a bit, but it's actually pretty soft, and it's banked, and it's a good runoff all the way up until that gate. So as we're climbing up this hill, just climbing up this straight, right here, as I'm eyeing that out, we just got to remember, let's not like slam on the brakes. We can carry a good speed over with this left-hander. So one of the things that you always kind of dial in your head is, one, how fast can I take certain corners with my car? So here, I don't need to add a bunch of speed, but I should be able to just do a slight left, chuck it in, and be able to hug everything here. If I can hug this all the way around, Again, just get used to the car as far as how much speed you can do. And if you can hug here, then you can see a nice daylight. If you're adding too much distance and you're all the way over here to the right, that means you can't get on the gas through that gap. So you want to try and hug around this and wrap it around so you can have a nice hole shot. If you just climb up the hill on throttle too much and you're fighting over on this right hand wall, then you're off throttle and for a few tenths of a second, and then you're just going to be behind on time. So right here is the usual right-hander, and as we wrap around, we're trying to eye out that gate, and then more importantly, what's coming up after that gate is our right-hander. So as we come up here, the usual kind of take a midline and then try to dive in and hit this cone at the triple pointer. You won't be able to because you're just going to understeer as the car gets a little light and then gets loaded up again. So you're just going to try and pitch it in here as best as you can. And then note that you can track all the way out to that gate. So you want to track out to the left side of that gate. So that means as soon as you pitch it in here, you should already be on the throttle. So as you're on the throttle, you're going to be pushing it on out to the left side of this gate here. And it's nice, and you're trying to eye out what's coming up next. So we know that we're gonna have to make a right-hander going down the hill, but we're gonna try and track to see how crazy this one is. So as we see the triple, and then we can see the BMW guys down there, so that means it's gonna be right and then a left coming back up the hill. So just a nice series of S's. So in here, my approach is gonna be climbing up the hill, so that way I can carry a good amount of speed and wrap around this triple and get myself downhill and prepare for that uphill. Now I'm gonna check to see how severe this angle is as we're exiting from the downhill to see how much speed I can possibly take here. But if I can wrap this around, carry some speed in, I don't want to be way down the hill, because what's going to happen is that as I'm braking and trying to get on the throttle anyway, it's going to understeer. So I'm going to try and come in, do my braking a little early. So as we see this angle, the angle isn't crazy, but it's enough so that way if you try to carry too much speed here, it's going to push you all the way out to the right. So what we want to do is but we have some runoff, but we want to try and wrap around this cone. So that means we're going to be a little bit disciplined within that pointer in here. So that way we can wrap this cone, but we still have some daylight. So you don't have to point and shoot straight ahead because you do have some runoff. And what's coming up next is a pretty good amount of daylight before a right-hander. So you can actually track out just a little bit, no more than where you are right now. If you start going all the way down here, then you have to watch your throttle because you can't come back enough. So I'm gonna try and track out because I'll most likely be in the Miata today, so I can actually just carry and carve around the corners and be good to go and still be balanced. If you're in more of a high horsepower car that probably can't sweep, then you can kind of V it off as best as you can, but you want to try and get this is your payoff right here, nice hole shot. Now, as we're coming through here, one of the things that is nice here at FedEx is this little downward right-hander. We just call it like a roller coaster. And for this to pay off, you have to set it up right. Now, this angle isn't crazy severe. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna come up the hill just a little bit, and then this way we can get all our braking done in a straight line, depending on how much go pedal you have. And then we're gonna be eyeing down below, and I'm actually gonna start pitching the car a little sooner because I'm gonna have so much speed right here. I'm gonna pitch the car uphill and then try to get it downhill quickly. So what that means is, as you're up there at the top, don't wait until you kind of get to this cone before you start turning. You gotta start your turning up top, because so that way you can carry yourself down. Now here, this nice little roller coaster run, you're gonna go ahead and just track it all the way down and hug this triple on the left-hander, because it's gonna come down to a nice chute. And as we can see there, it looks like there's gonna be a right-hander, and then it's leading into another set of little 3-cone slalom there, little lane change. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So almost 4 cones. It looks like 3-cone slalom to a right-hander. So as we come down here, look at this pay dirt right here. So one of the things I'm gonna try is try and get clean around that edge, wrap it around, be on throttle as I'm diving down here. And I don't wanna be all the way to the right. So this is gonna make this right-hander too severe. So I wanna hug and wrap around and keep my way up here on the left-hand side. Because what's happening is that we're trying to set ourselves up so that way we can actually get some go time at the slalom, aka lane change. So as we're up here on the hill, we're gonna slow down the car in a straight line. So the car is nice and balanced. Use the banking to our advantage, and then just try to rotate this car in. As soon as I start turning in, you can see that it's in our favor, so I can shoot the gap right there where Kate is. So it's right here, shooting the gap. Now, one thing that you can see on approach is that the car is gonna get a little light right there at that 2nd cone, and that 3rd cone is everybody's best friend today, as the car is kind of getting unloaded just because of the little hump there. So what we're gonna do is just come through here, make sure that you backside this cone, because if you backside this cone, that hump isn't going to affect you nearly as much. So as we're coming through, charge it, backside, accelerate out. You're just trying to fit through here. You're not trying to just backside through here. I'm just gonna charge on through, and I'll be looking ahead to see what's next. So here's our showcase right-hander, and it looks like a decrease in radius as we got the outward cone and then a pincher cone there. So as we're coming around here, I'm just telling myself, all right, we know we're gonna be flying. We can get on the binders and then go ahead, and we don't have to shoot from this cone to that cone because it is decrease in radius. So we're actually gonna track out a little bit over here to the left to soften up that right-hander. Softening up that right-hander, I'll show you in a second. As we're coming around on this decrease in radius, if we get too shallow, that means more to the right, more to the turn. So if we're making a right turn and we are closer to the right, we're a little too shallow. So if I'm over here, trying to make this turn is more severe, so it's more of a 90. The more I am over on the left hand, you have to find that kind of sweet spot. This angle becomes softer. That means instead of a 90, right now we're probably at 80, 75 degrees, and then we can carry more speed around here. As you're coming through, try to hit this cone because it's falling off. You're not going to. And then come around here, wrap it up, and then start rolling on the gas back there, and you can just hold shot right here for this lane change. So one of the things that I hate personally are going to be these wallums coming up. And so the wallums, you just got to remember, it is not the front side cone like you see here. It's the back cone that counts. And then there's also one right after it and another set behind it. So here it's a visual thing. So you just got to make sure, since this is not in our favor, you just got to make sure that you get through and keeping an eye on the last cone. But as soon as we get past this cone, that's all that matters. There is some wet spots, so anytime you kind of see the ground glossy a little bit, don't try to be out there because you're just gonna lose grip. So as we're squeezing through here, we're gonna be gassing it up as we're passing that, and we're gonna gas it up, but then we also wanna eye out where we gotta go. So this at the grass is a big 180 as we're coming around. So as we get closer, we're gonna try and see, are we gonna be able to track out a little bit, or should we keep it nice and tight? So here's gonna be my my braking zone. Judge it by your speed, but in here is gonna be nice and grippy. Don't do too much late braking because it looks like right there we have a pincher. So because we can't just track out immediately, we have to go ahead and get the car slowed down and tuck it in. And we got that pincher there, and then a slight left or slalom. So if I come in here and just carve around these sets of cones, well, actually what I'll probably end up doing is doing a decreasing radius approach and taking the midline as I'm braking, come in here so I can hug this left-hander, and as I'm hugging on this, I'm rolling on the throttle. I can track out a bit if I'm tight here. If I'm adding a bunch of distance, all you're doing is adding time, and your position is still going to be good, but you're just adding a bunch of time if you start going way up the hill. So what I'm going to do is just try and hug this, but I'm going to throttle out in the mid, and then that's going to start pushing me out from that cone, and I can wrap this guy around. So as I'm coming up, one of the things for the high horsepower guys, you got to keep track of what's going on the floor. Here you're going to lose it just a little bit because of the bump, but then as you carve it all the way around this cone, it's daylight. So just you'll be on throttle, wrapping this around, and then there is daylight, folks. As soon as you feel that the car is straight, floor it on the big horsepower cars. If you have all-wheel drive, when I did this course, we were on the throttle from back there and just trying to punt everything, knowing that we're going to understeer our way all the way to the finish and just keep on going with it. So the course is nice. It was something that we actually did over at the level 2 school with some modifications, but the overall layout is pretty much, or the general layout is pretty much the same. So thanks for joining. That's the end. Thanks for joining here. Hopefully this helps some of you guys out. I'm gonna try and do this each event. This is the practice event, so this is a good memory jargon. As I said before, make sure that as you're doing all these different courses and you're checking them out, get a little database in your head. All right, the corner here, how fast do I normally take this? And just keep pushing it, and get a database in your head as far as how fast you can take certain corners and then try to squeeze through. But the biggest thing is your exits. Worry about where your position is at your exit, so that way you can exit out nice, clean, on throttle. That's a big part. If your entry's screwed up, you can correct that midway most of the time, unless you're coming in super hot. So just keep that in mind, folks. So thanks for everybody, WDCR, for hosting the event. Hit the like button, subscribe, and the more views and more hits I see, the more I'll start doing this, or keep it up, I should say. So, all right, guys, yeah, have a good one. Take care.